Are you interested in negative painting using watercolor? Well, in today's video, I'm going to guide you through the process of negative painting trees without using any pencil lines. What matters the most is the value. So I know that I must have a very light value. So I always keep a little strip of paper here, and I'm going to make a nice puddle in here, making sure there's plenty of water, because if I want to paint in a light value, I'm painting with mostly water. So there's plenty of water in here, and I'm going to test on this piece of paper the value, and you see how light that is compared to if I go right into the pigment with very little water, how dark that color is. I want to start nice and light when I do my first layer of negative painting. So, and I'm going to start the first layer of trees. I paint upside down when I'm doing trees. I find for me, with my style, my technique, what I'm looking to achieve, without putting pencil lines down, I get this freedom of painting that I just love. And by painting upside down, I'm able to get the tip of the brush into the little branch areas and the between the trunks of the trees, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean now. So this would be the top of my painting, and my trees will come down here. So I'm going to start in this corner. I'm coming right to the edge of the, the paper, and I'm going to paint in my first tree. Negative painting is when I paint around an object to make the object appear. So right now, the white is going to be my tree appearing. This is what I mean when I say the tip of my brush. Now when I come in with the tip of my brush, I can make these nice, easy branch shapes and separate those. Okay. I'm going to move over. What's important now is that each tree should be a little bit different. Doesn't matter if they're a little wonky or whatever they are. That doesn't matter. What matters is they should be different in size from each other, and the space between them should be different. So the space from the edge to here is different from this edge to this edge, and that's really important to give my interest to the painting, to give balance to the painting. I don't want it to look like I just painted a soldier of trees straight across. So this is going to be my next tree. I'm picking up other colors. First I was a little bit more rose. Now I'm going in with a little more orange. And I'm moving over, and I'm going to put just one skinny little tree right here. And I have to paint right to the edge of the paper. And a little bit of that orange I dropped in. Now with a clean brush, I'm going to soften this edge. I don't need this to all be so hard-edged up here. Again, this is why I like not painting with a pencil, because all of a sudden I can come in and say, oh, I think I want to change this edge a little bit. And I don't have any pencil lines that are dictating what I need to do. Okay, this is a little bit softer. Let's turn this around so you can take a look. It needs to be dried, and as soon as it's dried, I can start painting in the second layer of trees. My paper's dry, and I can immediately start the next layer of trees. And turn my paper around. I'm going to start on the left. I always start on the opposite side of right-handed. I start on the left because I don't want to lay my hand down in wet paint as I'm moving across. I can darken my values slightly at this point, but I think I'm going to stay with the same colors. I'm always testing it on paper in front of me just to make sure that it's not too dark. If it looks a little too dark, I just add a little bit of water. I have this nice little spot in here. I'm going to change the ground level as I start the next tree. And using the point of my brush, I can come right in here and change that shape. I can do it again over here if I want. And by doing that, I achieve different branches. Okay, I'm going to let that sit before I clean up some of the excess watercolor that's there. Now I'm coming over here, changing the height of the ground. And I'm going to bring a tree. And I'm going to put this tree closer over here. So I'm going to come across. And this tree is going to be right next to this other tree. But I'm going to bring some branches over this way. And you see how easy with that point of my brush, I can come in and do those quick and easy. As I'm working through this, every part of the color painted area, not the white trees, my background, all of it needs to be changed. Oops, a little color in there. That's paling out a little bit. All of this, even between here, needs to be changed. So I just painted one more layer of trees, and now I'm going to show you putting in another deeper layer. So now this tree, this skinny little tree, sits behind this tree and behind this tree. And let me move on, and I'll continue doing that. I'll put another tree right over here. I'm changing the height of the ground, just reinforcing that so you can see it better. Okay, so I'm on a different level. The ground is a different level. Let's turn it around. And now you can see how much depth I've already created. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 were my original tree shapes. that I painted. In my second layer, I painted around those 4 shapes and around these shapes, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I painted around all of those. When it was dry, I went back in and I painted around the 4 white trees, and then the 4 trees of the second layer. It might be easy to watch the bottom because that's going to help you see the layers as they come up into the trees. So the third layer, I created this layer of trees. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to dry this and I'm going to squeeze in one more layer, and then I'm going to dress the top for you. Okay, now I'm down to the final layer on the bottom. Change my color. I'm going to use a brown color. I want to go darker and deeper. There's really not a lot of space in here, and that's exactly what happens as you negative paint. You go deeper and deeper and you start running out of room, but I am going to be able to still get another layer back in here. I'm working with 2 different brushes. I have a rigger now, and I still have my round brush because I think I'm going to need the rigger to get into some very small places. I also will be painting. I won't be painting upside down now. Now I'm going to be able to watch the painting from this angle, and you'll be able to see exactly what I'm doing now. That I'm now thinking of a canopy, and I'm thinking of the separation between the different layers within the canopy. I'm going to use this center tree and start to give it a canopy top. I like the edge coming through here, so I'm going to continue on that edge just very lightly. And this edge here, I'm going to continue that little edge lightly and create part of the canopy of the top of this tree. So I just negative paint really, really, really light because I want to see how I like that before I make a major commitment. So you can see how simple, but you can also see that I've now given shape to the top of that tree. So now that I like the shapes, I'm just going to come in with a tiny bit more very pale pigment. I'm even going to add a little bit of that down here. Not too much. And I don't want any hard edges outside of this. The first thing is make sure the bottom is dry before you start this. Otherwise, you'll just bleed everything into each other. So I'm going to lightly shade out a part of this tree. Now, the main thing is I don't want to just change the whole value so it completely goes back to looking like one flat layer of paper. So I'm really using a very light value, but I'm starting to make these trees look a little bit like something. Okay, just giving them a tiny bit of life. Well, that's the end of this video. Please subscribe to my channel, like below. Always leave me comments. Let me know what you'd like to see me doing. I would like to recommend, if you like this one, I have two other videos on painting trees, negative painting, where I'm using pencils, so you can watch that process. And I also have other videos that will help you step by step work to understand negative painting. You have a great day, and I'll see you in my next video.